Hi there, it's Mike here from Smart Life AV, your London-based technology installation partner. We typically install technology into homes to make them smart homes, but also businesses to provide them with security, audio, visual, and energy-saving functionality. If you have a project in mind, then feel free to reach out to us via the normal means, phone or website, or alternatively via our social media channels up there. Thank you. Today we're going to talk to you about feature walls and room treatments. What is a feature wall? Well, typically for our residential clients, a feature wall is normally the main focal point in a living room. It's the place where you're all looking at the TV or the television, and often, more often than not, that primary viewing area will have a surround sound speaker setup. And what that requires for the optimum performance is speakers to be mounted around the TV, as well as perhaps subwoofers to be hidden on the floor or within the walls to provide a hidden bass response for those lower frequencies. So in a residential environment, a feature wall can be used to hide all this technology whilst maintaining the aesthetic of the room. And it also allows you to create a very contrasting look to the wall compared to the rest of the room, as it is going to be your main focal point. Also, acoustic room treatments are used heavily in dedicated cinema rooms. So what happens typically is when we design a cinema, you would have to bring the walls in by creating 4 false walls or maybe a false front wall to house, again, the speakers around the room, but also room treatments like acoustic foam or any other sort of materials that will be used to improve the sound quality in the room. Now, what typically happens is a design will be created and it will be passed on to the builder or the carpenter on site, and they would have to make this very elaborate framework for the room in order to achieve this goal. What we have available is a framework that not only is much faster to assemble, but it also is a lot more precise. When you typically buy wood from a builder's merchant or a DIY store, wood is a natural product. It can come with knots, uneven surfaces, or it could even be bowed. When you buy it in long lengths, it's not completely straight. So our framework eliminates compensating for those issues. It uses layers of softwood that are laid on top of each other, providing us with a completely straight and level surface. We then assemble these pieces together in order to build a room frame extremely quickly. Not only does it save us time on installation, but ultimately it saves you money when we're fitting out a cinema room or a feature wall. The great thing about this system is it can be used not only when you're renovating your property, but even if you're not, because it always assumes that the room has been finished. And when we say that the room has been finished, we mean that the walls have been plastered and painted, and the room could be habitable in the current condition that it's in. So it's great if you're considering spicing up your living room, changing things around, changing a bit of decor, and you really want to make your TV wall stand out. Alternatively, for a business, you may want to have a feature wall if the room is very echoey and you have people there, like for example a cafe or an office, where when you're on the phone your voice echoes a lot because of the acoustics in the room. We can have a wall filled with acoustic treatment that's going to make the room sound much better than it currently does. So let me show you a bit of the process and how we actually create this type of room or feature wall. So it all starts off with the design. The design is the most important thing, and it also allows you to be a lot more creative in the results that you'd like to achieve for the room. So once we have a design, this design could be flat walls, it could be louvered panels, it could just be fabric across the wall instead of having paint. It could be different shapes, it could be different sizes. They could have lighting in between. It could have metallic strip in between. The options are limitless. So if you give us an idea of what designs you like, then we can do our best to try and achieve those designs that you require. Leave a comment below. Let us know what sort of designs you would like to see from us. Now, everything starts off with the wood. The wood comes in different shapes and sizes, different lengths, all for different designs and serve different purposes. So here you can see there is a standard wall panel. The wall panel is constructed of this different shapes and sizes of wood, but they are perfectly straight and level. That's what we can achieve. Here you can see us assembling part of what is a coffered ceiling. A coffered ceiling is something like, for example, a dropped ceiling around the edge of a room that can be used to, again, hide ceiling speakers or create an illusion of depth, especially if you're using something like a star ceiling, where when you look up, you see the stars and it looks like you're looking into space. Now, once the timber is assembled, we attach it to the wall, and once it's attached to the wall, it really depends on how you'd like to finish this. So one of the options that we have are wooden veneer slats. So wood veneer, which is slatted into stripes, can be mounted on this framework in short lengths, long lengths, sideways, vertically, horizontally, whatever you'd like. And it could just be a wooden veneer wall. Alternatively, we can use fabric. So here you can see one of our colleagues cutting what we call fabric track. This fabric track is used as a support mechanism across all the wood in order for us to hide fabric and stretch fabric across the framework. So first of all, we cut it using very, very precise saws. Once it's cut, the fabric track is assembled into the shape that is required, and it is then fixed onto the timber frame. Once the fabric is attached to the timber frame, fabric track is attached to the timber frame, we can choose what fabric to use. So we cut the fabric to size, but at this stage, if it's a cinema room or maybe even a feature wall in the living room, you may opt for some acoustic treatment. We attach the acoustic treatment onto the framework, as you can see there. Again, cut to the perfect measurements, the perfect size to achieve the end goal. And then we lay the fabric on top of it. The fabric is then tucked in gently around the frame into the track. And then we tuck the fabric into the track. Once the fabric is into the track, we carefully cut the excess fabric off and tuck the remainder into the track to ensure that there is a tight, stretched fabric finish across the surface. Now, when we use fabric, there are two different options you can opt for. One is having the track exposed, in which case you will see a black edge across the panel, which looks perfectly fine if you're using a darker fabric. Or the second option is wrapping the fabric around the edge of the track. And this is nicer for a lighter fabric. From here you can see there are two different options available and how they look. The other thing you can do is put different fabrics beside one another. So you could have one panel with a dark fabric, one panel with a light fabric. If there is a speaker behind, it could be acoustically transparent fabric that lets the sound come through. However, you will have panels where there are no speakers behind, and you may wish to opt for something more design orientated, like a suede fabric that kind of stands out a bit more in the room. Furthermore, you could have different things in between the panels. So two common options we see are metal stripes in between that could be highlighted with LED tape, or you could have LED tape down the middle to provide some soft lighting for the room. This could be static LED tape, in which case it will all show as one color at the same time. So if you select red, the entire strip would be red. Or it could be digital tape. Digital LED tape allows every single LED chip inside of that tape to be a different color at the same time. And this allows you to create visual effects. For example, a rainbow strobe or moving light. So you can get really, really creative if the room is going to be used as something else. For example, in a commercial club or your own party room, a bowling alley, a golf simulator, whatever you feel like using this in. Finally, when you're creating a cinema room, the fabric can be completely flush with the screen fabric. And what that means is you will not see a border around the screen. So one fabric will transition straight into the next, and you have a white fabric for the cinema screen, and then your designer decor fabrics around it. Same can be said for a TV wall or a feature TV wall, where you will have the fabric come right up against the edge of the TV to provide a very clean and flush finish. So we hope that gives you some idea of what we can achieve with acoustic fabrics, treatments, and feature walls. If you do have any inquiries, then feel free to get in touch. And if you're enjoying this content, then please hit the like button, leave a comment, let us know what you think, and hit the subscribe button, or stay tuned for more content from us. Thank you very much for watching. Appreciate it. All the best, Mike.